spooky stories, or like a spooky story thing that I found. Basically, it's just a little website that like a subreddit type thing with, they say, 30 short horror stories. So I'm hoping that they're pretty good. We'll see. But as you can see from the background, I kind of changed it just a little bit. I put Jason, or the infamous Jason Fortress, I believe that's how you say it. I have up here a little pumpkin garland, some skeleton things. You can't really see them, but I try to make it spooky. I also am dressed for this video, kind of. Let's see if you can see it. I have Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy Krueger, there's his little claw. Jigsaw, little tricycle. And lastly, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or Leatherface. So, without further ado, let's get into these spooky stories. I have not read them yet, so I'm in for a surprise too. So number 1 is called This New Old House. It says, we bought an old house, my boyfriend and I. He's in charge of the new construction, converting the kitchen into the master bedroom, for instance. While I'm on wallpaper removal duty, the previous owner papered every wall and ceiling. Removing it is brutal, but oddly satisfying. The best feeling is getting a long peel, similar to your skin when you're peeling from a sunburn. Oh, I don't like that feeling. I don't know about you, but I kind of make a game of peeling, on the hunt for the longest piece before it rips. Oh no. Under a corner section of paper in every room is a person's name and a date. Curiosity got the best of me one night, and I googled one of the names and discovered the person was actually a missing person. The missing date matching the date under the wallpaper. The next day, I made a list of all the names and dates. Sure enough, each name was for a missing person with dates to match. We notified the police, who naturally sent out the crime scene team. I overheard one tech say, "Yup, it's human." Human? What's human? Ma'am, where's the material you removed from the walls already? This isn't wallpaper you were removing. Ooh, that's creepy. Number 2. I hate it when my brother Charlie has to go away. I hate it when my brother Charlie has to go away. My parents constantly try to explain to me how sick he is, that I am lucky for having a brain where all the chemicals flow properly to their destinations, like undammed rivers. When I complain about how bored I am, without a little brother to play with, they try to make me feel bad by pointing out that his boredom likely far surpasses mine. Considering he is confined to a dark room in an institution, I always beg for them to give him one last chance. Of course, they did it first. Charlie has been back home several times, each shorter in duration than the last. Every time, without fail, it all starts again. The neighborhood cats with gouged out eyes showing up in his toy chest. My dad's razors found dropped on the baby slide in the park across the street. Mom's vitamins replaced by bits of dishwasher tablets. My parents are hesitant now, using last chances sparingly. They say his disorder makes him charming, says who they're by, but I can't really pronounce their names or say it, so. He awoke to the huge insect-like creatures looming over his bed and screamed his lungs out. They hastily left the room, and he stayed up all night shaking and wondering if it had been a dream. The next morning, there was a tap on the door. A tap, 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 tap on the door. Gathering his courage, he opened it to see one of them gently place a plate filled with fried breakfast on the floor. Then a retreat to a safe distance. Bewildered, he accepted the gift. The creatures chittered excitedly. This happened every day for weeks. At first he worried they were fattening him up, but after a particularly greasy breakfast left him clutching his chest from heartburn. They were replaced with fresh fruit as well as cooking. They poured hot steamy baths for him and even tucked him in when he went to bed. It was bizarre. One night he woke to gunshots and screaming. He raced downstairs to find a decapitated burglar being devoured by the insects. He was sickened but disposed of the remains as best as he could. He knew they had just been protecting him. One morning, the creatures wouldn't let him leave his room. He lay down, confused but trusting, as they ushered him back into bed. Whatever their motives, they weren't going to hurt him. Hours later, a burning pain spread throughout his body. It felt like his stomach was filled with razor wire. The insects chittered as he spasmed and moaned. It was only when he felt a terrible squirming feeling beneath his skin that he realized the insects hadn't been protecting him. They had been protecting their young. Ew, they were living inside of him. I don't know if this is creepy or like... Oh yeah, I guess it gives me like the creepy crawlies. My skin feels nasty. Number four. Not three, but four. Not one, not two, not three, but four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Seeing Red. The First Day of School by Zenri. H-A-O. Everyone loves the first day of school, right? New year, new classes, new friends. It's a day full of potential and hope before all the dreary depressions of reality show up to ruin all the fun. Yeah, that's true. I like the first day of school for a different reason though. You see, I have a sort of power. When I look at people, I can sense a sort of aura around them. A colored outline based on how long that person has to live. Most everyone I meet around my age is surrounded by a solid green hue, which means they have plenty of time left. A fair amount of them have a yellowish orangish tinge to their auras, which tends to mean a car crash or some other tragedy. Anything that takes people before their time. As they say, the real fun is when the auras venture into the red end of the spectrum, though every now and again I'll see someone who's basically a walking stoplight. Those are the ones who get murdered or kill themselves. It's such a rush to see them and know their time is numbered. With that in mind, I always get to class very early so I can scout out my classmates' fates. The first kid who walked in was basically radiating red. I chuckled to myself, too damn bad, bro. But as people kept walking in, they all had the same intense glow. I finally caught a glimpse of my rose-tinted reflection in the window, but I was too stunned to move. Our professor stepped in and locked the door, his aura a sickening shade of green. Oh wow, I didn't like that one. Number 6. My daughter learned to count by Real Science 87. My daughter woke me up around 11:50 last night. My wife and I had picked her up from her friend Sally's birthday party, brought her home, and put her to bed. My wife went into the bedroom to read while I fell asleep watching the Braves game. Daddy, she whispered, tugging my shirt sleeve. Oh, I'm scared to finish reading this. Guess how old I'm going to be next month? I don't know, Beauty, I said as I slipped on my glasses. How old? She smiled and held up 4 fingers. It is 7:30 now. My wife and I have been up with her for almost 8 hours. She still refuses to tell us where she got them. I don't get this one. Maybe I'm missing it, which is probably a good thing. You know what? I'm moving on. I don't think I want to know. Number 8. There's no reason to be afraid by Whoever Fights Monster. When my sister Betsy and I were kids, our family lived in a charming old farmhouse. We loved exploring its dusty corners and climbing the apple tree in the backyard. But our favorite thing was the ghost. We called her Mother because she seemed so kind and nurturing. Some mornings, Betsy and I would wake up, and on each of our nightstands we'd find a cup that hadn't been there the night before. Mother had left them there, worried that we'd get thirsty during the night. She just wanted to take care of us. Among the house's original furnishings was an antique wooden chair, which we kept against the black wall of the living room. Whenever we were preoccupied watching TV or playing a game, Mother would inch that chair forward across the room toward us. Sometimes she'd manage to move it all the way to the center of the room. We always felt sad putting it against the wall. Mother just wanted to be near us. Years later, long after we'd move out, I found an old newspaper article about the farmhouse's original occupant, a widow. She murdered her 2 children by giving them each a cup of poisoned milk before bed. Then she'd hung herself. The article included a photo of the farmhouse's living room, with a woman's body hanging from a beam beneath her. Knocked over was that old wooden chair, placed exactly in the center of the room. Okay, guys, if I cut out a few stories in here, it's because I just feel like some of them are not meant to be on YouTube, like by me at least. Okay, at this point I'm just not gonna say the numbers. It was 1 a.m. and the guy, Halverson, sat in the dark living room. He hadn't moved for over an hour. The accident earlier that evening kept playing over and over in his mind. The light turned red, but he was in a hurry and accelerated. An orange blur came from his right, and in a split second there was a violent jolt. Then the bicyclist, I can't talk, rolled across his hood and fell out of sight on the pavement. Horns blared angrily and he panicked, stepping on the gas and screeching away from the chaos into the darkness. Shaking and keeping an eye on his rear view mirror until he got home. Why did you run, you idiot? He'd never committed a crime before. This, and punished himself by imagining years in jail, his career gone, his family gone, his future gone. bike was struck by a hit-and-run driver this evening. He died at the scene. I'm very sorry for your loss. Oh my. Wow. Wow. I don't even. Some of these stories are not even creepy. They're like. They're supposed to be horror stories. Well, I guess they're horror stories. Next time, you'll know better. Have you ever walked into a room and found a vampire? No, not the sexy kind, but a foul creature with bony limbs and ashen skin. Ashen skin. The kind that snarls as you enter like a beast about to pounce. The kind that roots you to the spot with its sunken, hypnotic eyes, rendering you unable to flee as you watch the hideous thing uncoil from the shadows. Has your heart started racing through your legs, though your legs refuse to? Have you felt time slow as the creature crosses the room in the darkness of a blink? Have you shuddered with the fear when it places one clawed hand atop your head? Atop your head and another under your chin, so it can tilt you, exposing your neck. Have you squirmed as its rough, dry tongue slides down your cheek over your jaw to your throat, in a slithering search that's seeking your artery? Have you felt its hot breath release in a hiss against your skin when it probes your pulse, the flow that leads to your brain? Has its tongue rested there, throbbing slightly as if savoring the moment? Have you then experienced a sinking, sucking blackness as you discover that not all vampires feed on blood? Some feed on memories. Well, have you? Maybe not. But let me rephrase the question. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you came in? Hands. The doctor pulled the stethoscope ear tips out and hung the device around his neck. Mr. Weatherby, all of your tests have come back negative, and my examination shows nothing abnormal. Adam knew that was coming. always naked. Oh, yeah, always a petrifying grin on their faces. It had been just at a few at first, but then hundreds and thousands would fall at a time, destroying cars, homes, blocking off highways. Strange discoveries were made upon research. They were human, but lacked any blood, intestines, even a heart. No one could explain the hideous grins they had, or even where they came from. It was a woman in Costa Rica who made the latest and most disturbing discovery. She recognized one of the fallen bodies as a long-dead relative, one who died back when she had been a teenager. Then more and more identifications were made. Soon people were picking out their long-dead loved ones amongst the video feeds, cadaver piles, and crematoriums. No one could explain why they were coming back, falling from the sky. Even more distressing, after disposing of the bodies, it wouldn't be long until that same body came plummeting from the sky again. You could not get rid of them, no matter what. People were getting killed by the higher volume of falling bodies, and soon after burial, they too began to fall. That's weird. My mother was killed when a body landed on her car, crushing her.